The lawyer Acker hired, it's Jimmy.
Jimmy. You're Jimmy?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing the new sneak peek promo trailer for Season 5, Episode 5 of Better Call Saul. Warning, spoilers for everything in the show up to Episode 504, and let's jump right into this. So this sneak peek features Kim speaking to Kevin and Paige from Mesa Verde. Normally the scenes with Mesa Verde would have previously been some of the more slow and boring scenes, but this season, the Mesa Verde story arc is actually really interesting. I loved the whole situation with Kim trying to convince Mr. Acker in the first place, and now that Jimmy is involved with him as his client, things are really going to get heated up. So this scene shows Mesa Verde reacting to Mr. Acker getting Saul as his lawyer.
Now the guy gets a lawyer, the lawyer comes in, the crazy comes out.
We had it straightened out in a matter of hours.
It was a gimmick, and not a particularly effective one.
It's costing us a day. I call that plenty effective.
Apparently it seems out of nowhere, which makes sense because they don't know that Kim set Jimmy up to it. Kim says that they cleared it up quickly, but they call it out as being a gimmick and that it still cost them an extra day, which is probably one of the goals that Jimmy and Kim actually wanted. Anyways, Kevin says that regardless, by the end of tomorrow they should still bulldoze down the entire place. Paige says how that is the plan, but then she looks at Kim like something's wrong. Kim tells Kevin that the lawyer that Mr. Acker hired is Jimmy, so it sounds like she's just coming out with it and telling Kevin that the lawyer is Jimmy because they would have figured it out that the lawyer was her boyfriend anyways. That being said, I don't think that she's being honest about putting Jimmy up to it. She's telling them a half-truth. Her and Jimmy are still trying to scam Mesa Verde. They're doing this by getting Jimmy to convince Mr. Acker to go along with things in a way which allows Mr. Acker to feel like he's winning against Mesa Verde, even though they're still going to do what Kim wants.
But we're past that. Tomorrow they're finally tearing the place down, right?
And that's the plan.
There's more?
Unfortunately, there is another complication. The lawyer Acker hired, it's Jimmy.
Also, by the way that Paige looks at Kim to tell Kevin the news about Jimmy getting hired, it seems like Kim first convinced Paige of this half-truth beforehand to get her on board first. This is because it's probably easier to convince them one by one, convincing Paige first and then getting Paige to help convince Kevin, rather than coming to them both at the same time and trying to convince them together, as they usually work as a team, and we saw her try to do that last episode and it didn't work. And it's so funny too because she obviously isn't telling them that she put Jimmy up to this, so the sneak peek actually ends off with Kevin saying that Jimmy got hired. How the hell did that happen?
The lawyer Acker hired, it's Jimmy.
Jimmy. You're Jimmy?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Oh geez, how did it happen? You're staring right at it. Kim. She's the one that made it happen. Anyways, this is a huge Kim is literally scamming Mesa Verde moment just for the principle of the matter of trying to get Mr. Acker to do what she wants him to do. This is just like earlier in the season with her other client that she couldn't convince until she decided to do the scam that Jimmy suggested. She didn't like the scam morally, but it worked. She decided that she wasn't going to do it again and she told Jimmy this, but this Mr. Acker guy has really gotten to her and so now she's going all out. It's crazy how just flipping a switch and deciding to do this with Jimmy is getting her so deep into this mess, when she literally could have just done nothing and let Mr. Acker's house get bulldozed over. She would have felt bad with the guy getting kicked out of house and home, but sadly it's his own fault. He would have gotten forced out by the government anyways, they were legally right to do so, and Kim even tried to do everything that she could to help the guy out after he was being a complete asshole to her, and he still didn't believe her. After her first conversation with Mr. Acker, even though Kim wasn't satisfied with the outcome due to yelling at him, she felt like it was unprofessional, she still got her job done. Paige was happy. Mesa Verde already got what they wanted. The feud with Mr. Acker was going to end, but just because Kim wasn't satisfied, she's now causing it to go on for longer. In the sneak peek, Kevin complained about it taking just another day. He wants it to be bulldozed by tomorrow. He wants it to be over and done with. But now just because Jimmy is involved, it sounds like there's another reason it's going to take even longer. So, How long until this is over? I bet Kim is going to keep stalling until she convinces both sides, Mesa Verde and Mr. Acker, to do what she wants, and that's not okay. And also, by the looks of it from future episodes, episode 6 looks like Jimmy and Kim are going to go to trial over this, so it seems like they're not going to agree on something. Kim's whole arc this season is that she never wanted to trick a client into making a decision for them. She wanted the client's decision to be genuinely their own. And just as a side note, this kind of reminds me of that one heist episode from a recent episode of Rick and Morty, where the whole time Rick is actually tricking Morty into thinking that it's his own decision that he wanted to give up the deal with Netflix or whatever was going on. If you've seen the new episode of Rick and Morty, you'll get what I'm saying here, but Rick tricking Morty into making him think that it was his own decision when really that's what Rick wanted is the same kind of thing here with Mesa Verde and Mr. Acker. And the thing is, Kim is self-aware, she knows what she's doing, but she's just saying, screw it, I'm going all in. And speaking of which, if you have seen the recent Rick and Morty episodes, go click the link and check out my Rick and Morty video that I did around Christmas time. Okay, self-plug aside, back to Kim. She's actively causing what Mesa Verde wanted her to fix just because she now wants to get what she wants. If she could have just taken a step back and looked the other way, she wouldn't be risking her job and her career. Morals and the law don't always go together, sadly. Also, it seems like Kim is getting some sort of thrill out of cons and scams. Well, obviously it's been happening the entire show, convincing people to do what she wants without them realizing it. It's just so exciting for her because normally the law is when she's the most righteous, and so going against that is going against everything that she stands for and everything that she worked towards. The corruption of Kim's character this season is such an interesting topic that I'll definitely be discussing more throughout the season, and we'll be breaking it down fully once the season is over. And it's also interesting to note that it wasn't Jimmy that had to convince her to do this. He didn't dangle it over her head, he didn't poke and prod at all, he told her to have a good day and didn't ask about it. She came to Jimmy when he was in the middle of a courtroom session, and she waited until he was done after class, so to speak, to ask him out of nowhere. She purposely came to him because she knew that he was the only one that could help her with this problem. This relates to what I was saying in my previous video, where how last season there was a problem Jimmy had that only Kim could solve, by helping him with a con. And now this season, there's a problem that Kim has that only Jimmy can solve, by helping her with a con. I assume that there's more to the scene between Kim and Paige and Kevin, so let me know what you guys think down below. Oh, and shout out to one of you awesome viewers of the channel, Jeff Murray, who actually let me know that there's a real life phone number that Kevin set up for the call center. So that's right, I'm going to be calling that in my next video, just like how I called Saul's number at the beginning of Season 5, and you can too. Like, I think it's really cool how they have all of these phone numbers, and if there's any more that we've missed, let me know. And my apologies, this video came out a day late in my opinion. I wanted to get it up yesterday, but I was in the hospital for most of the day because of my hand, but good news, I don't need any sort of surgery or anything, I just need to let it recover, so I will be pumping out these videos more and more as it recovers more. It's just kind of difficult like typing out all my notes with my right hand when I'm left-handed. Like, just sit there and try and type out a 3-page essay with only one hand. It's like kind of it takes a while. And yes, I do know that there is voice to text. I've actually been using that a little bit, but I still have to go in and fix all the errors that it makes. And then when it comes to editing, I'm using the hand I don't normally use for the computer mouse, so it just feels weird. I'm just letting you guys know why it's taking a bit longer to make these videos right now, and also why temporarily the editing might not be 100%. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, as I'm always thankful for you guys helping me appease the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe and hit that bell notification for more content on Better Call Saul in the near future, and as always, I thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out!